I was all set to reuse the old wheel and everything looked good. The gum wall was a little discolored, but then I put the old inner tube in and filled it up with air, and you can see what happened. I was a little worried when I was taking these wheels off that the gum wall was cracking, and that's the result. So that's not going to work. Well, what I do have hanging around are two pretty good black walls of the same size. That's 26 by 1 3/8, and the tread's really good. They're not exactly the same tread, but it'll do. Of course, we have our last few items here, the brake and the shifter, reflectors, a few other miscellaneous things. And that's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. Good news is that the inner tube, the old inner tube, still holding air. I went to put the tire that I had selected, that was a 26 by 1 3/8, on the back wheel, and it would not fit. And I realized what was going on. The tire that I had pulled out of my stash for the front wheel actually says not only is it 26 by 1 3/8, but that it fits an S5 or S6 Schwinn rim, and that other tire did not. Fortunately, I did have another black wall that actually the tread is a little bit closer to what the tread on the other one was, that does say S5 or S6. There's something about that S5 or S6 rim. I don't know what it is. Maybe someone does and they can leave a comment. But it's actually a little bit bigger than a regular 26-inch wheel that other tire manufacturers would make tires for. So and they still do. Kenda still makes the tires that fit the S5 or S6. But you gotta, if you have a Schwinn rim that's an S5 or an S6, you gotta get the tire that fits that correctly. And that fits on perfectly. Both wheels are ready to go. Forgot one small, or a couple small finishing touches on the front wheel. That's under there. And then we need to just put these on. Might as well do the easy stuff first. Have just some simple green. Any cleaner will do. Might as well take this off. I'm gonna hit that up on the wire wheel. The rear reflector. Gonna have to hit those up on the wire wheel. They're pretty rusty. And I'll meet you over, since I was going to do this on the wire wheel. I've pulled another couple pieces off the shelf. This is the seat post clamp. This is the retainer for the coaster brake, various nuts and bolts. So we'll do all that while we're here. Cable, and the first thing we're going to need to do is take this spring off. There we go. I just needed to loosen up the tension there so that I could get a grip on this with the pliers. Stand by. There we go. Oh boy, probably knocked you around there. Sorry about that. And so from there, we can undo that. And get the cable out of there. Clean that up. Clean this up. Take the rest of this apart. Forgot to turn you back on. I only did a few little things. Okay, that goes there. That goes like that. Then there's that washer. So there's 3 there in a row. That's actually just a little name tag. That comes out. There's a little copper type washer in between. At least it's copper colored. And the spring. Now we are ready to clean these up on the wire wheel because they're not greasy or anything. So Really no grease or anything on here to speak of. A little bit of rust right there. I'm going to hit those up on the wire wheel. I will not take you along for the ride on that one. And now the tricky bit. Longtime viewers will know that when I have two brakes, a front and a back brake, caliper brake, I usually do one and then I use the other one as the model for how to put it back together. But in this case, we don't have that since we only have a front brake. Simple green here on this cable housing. Clean that up as best we can. It's cleaning up pretty nicely, actually. These last pieces, which is the 3-speed cable assembly. I'm going to hit that up on the wire wheel, that up on the wire wheel. I'm just going to clean the cable itself with some steel wool. Clean the cable housing with the steel wool. And that'll be it for the cable. Now we're going to put a little simple green on our steel wool. Do the same thing here that we did with the brake cable housing. Need a little bit of work on the back of the shifter lever. Go. Now we can get into the little nooks and crannies. This piece is actually part of the lever mechanism, so I can't, and I don't want to bend it too much. It's so small, it's hard to work. That's gonna have to do. Okay. I just have to remember that this goes with this, and this goes with this. There you have it. It's all done and just waiting to be reassembled on the next episode. Well, of course, those parts and the frame and the wheels. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you next time on the final episode of this season. See you next time.